Hello everyone, my name is Ruben and I am your partner on a journey of self-improvement and self-care. As you may or may not know, I myself was at the lowest point in my life roughly 1 year ago when I was finally forced to make the decision to wake up, and ever since I've done that, I have not looked back. Now this past week, I've decided to share tips with you which I used to better myself in this period. And as a person who would have had a panic attack over the simplest of questions like, where do you want to eat? I can tell you that whatever techniques I used personally, right, they had to be, so simple. They had to have the lowest barrier of entry possible. Otherwise, I would not have done them. I just wouldn't have stuck with them because at the time I was unable to stick with anything. Okay. However, today we are going to discuss tip number 6, and this one will be a bit tougher. And I do want to warn you that if you have not watched the other videos, if you have not implemented the other 5, you may struggle with this tip. Now, some people don't. Some people can do this no problem. However, the videos I'm making are probably for the people like myself who would not be able to do this without going back for the other 5. So I would suggest watching those videos before doing this one. So what is this tip number 6 that I'm building up, right? Well, simply it's healthy living. Yes, that's right. The most critical thing, right, that all of us are coming here for, right? They're like, hey, I want information on healthy living. You're just telling me to do it. Well, what I mean by this is that your rest, your sleep, your eating is utterly crucial to who you are and your mental health. There is no more denying this, right? I myself have experienced this personally, and I can tell you that as I worked on each one of these things, and I am still working on these things, my life has improved markedly, right? And when I look at this, though, I was not able to work on these things, truly work on these things, okay, in a constructive way until I was able to implement the first 5 tips, okay? And so what do I mean by that? Well, for myself, like let's say exercise. Exercise is something I've done all my life, but I did it obsessively, okay? My mind was not there. As, I forget what his name is, one of the guys who would say, sorry, I can't think of his name, Eckhart Tolle. He would say, even though I was conscious, I was unconscious, right? Because I was so stuck in my head. I'd go out and I'd run. I was running a ton, but I was never actually out there in that beautiful world. I was always stuck in here inside my head, just looping over things. And I was ignoring my body the whole time I was running. And in fact, you could say I was abusing my body. I wasn't stretching, I wasn't doing these things, I wasn't listening to cues. My body just broke down. But I did it. I did it because I didn't know how to get out of, the mental health issues I had. And it did help. It was better than doing nothing. Absolutely. Better than doing nothing. But without mindfulness, I didn't maximize it. My foot became like a club. Literally, it felt like a club because my calf became so tight I couldn't feel it. But I would never give myself a day off at the time I was doing this because I was like, if I have a day off, I'm going to fall off the cliff and never do it again. Because that's how my obsessive mind worked, right? It was either all in or all out, right? And I'm sure some of you, I'm sure almost every one of you can identify with that. I'm on a diet. Oh, I'm doing a diet. Oh, I ate one thing bad. I'm off my diet. It's all over, right? It's that all or none thinking. Not good. And once I did those 5 tips earlier, once I started introducing mindfulness into my life, I was able to focus on these items and have some success. And as I've said, I'm still continuing to work on these. These are not something, none of this is anything that you're going to get perfected and it's done. This is a lifelong journey, okay? But these 3 things right here, sleeping, eating, exercise, okay? This is without a doubt something that has to be addressed every single day. So like right now, I don't meditate every single day. I'll do small bits of mindfulness, but I won't sit down and do a longer meditation every day. Maybe I should. But I do feel like personally that where I'm at, I can kind of, I do it once every other day or so on and so forth. I feel like that's enough. However, I absolutely feel like, with my health, I have to focus on it a bit every single day. Okay, with my health and the sense of my physical body. I do talk about this in a video, mind-body connection, right? And so when I say this, and earlier I don't want to say meditation, isn't as important as these things. Some people might say it's more important than these things because it's the key to being able to do these things. In some sense, mindfulness, right? But I'm just saying for myself right now, I have found out that if I let my sleep especially go off the rails, I will go off the rails, okay? I'm a night owl. So if I like to stay up late, I will go off the rails if I just keep doing it. So one thing I try to do is that with my prior obsessive type of thinking of all or nothing, I don't do diets anymore. Instead, what I do is I just aim for a few days or even within one day of balance, okay? So like, let's just say this weekend, I went out to eat Friday night with the family, probably overate, had a lot of food, it was really rich. And then I came home, I had dessert. And then yesterday, I had a lot of chips, which are processed, and dip and things like that. And, today I had a cookie and just kind of things like this, right? I had things that are not so healthy. But I'm like, that's fine, because starting today now, I'm like, okay, well, I had a salad at lunch, And tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday, what I've been doing is every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I kind of limit the hours I eat. I go from 11 to 7, and I have better food during those days. And so if I can make a few days a week where I'm keeping my calories really good and really nutritious, and then the other days of the week, I don't go off the rails, right? To me, it feels like I'm doing better. And I can tell you that personally, I feel better. I don't feel like, oh, I'm breaking some diet, I'm doing something wrong, right? Where I used to always have so much negative feelings from that, so many negative thoughts from the voice in my head. Oh, you said you were going to do this, and now you're not. You're a failure. The voice in my head. It's shut up now, because I don't have those expectations, right? I don't have the expectation of a diet, of being vegan or being this or being that. My only expectation is that, hey, I'm just going to try to have some balance, right? And balance is fairly easy, because I'm just like, okay, today I screwed up. I had cookies all day or something, right? Tomorrow I'm going to try to balance it out. And if tomorrow I screw up, then the next day I'll try to balance it out. But for me, I find this to work. Now, the hardest thing has been my sleeping, right? Like I might have said that earlier. So with sleeping, what I do is I just go ahead and I wake up around the same time every day. I'd like to wake up at the same exact time every day, but on the weekends I let myself sleep in a little bit. And this has helped a lot, right? I used to always, I'd go to sleep at different times during the night. I'd wake up at different times during the morning. I'd wake up, multiple times during bedtime. So now it's like, okay, let me make sure I don't drink anything a few hours before bed. And that, even if I'm going to stay up late, I get up at the same time the next day. And then usually what happens is I'm tired enough that I get to bed a little bit earlier the next day. And so while my sleep is still, it's not ideal, my wife is a wonderful sleeper, right? She's on a schedule, right? But for me, my sleep has been revolutionized. I was at the point where, again, I wasn't a guy who liked to take too much medication. I've had alcohol problems in the past. And so it's like, I always feel like, pills, like what if I get hooked on them? But I was almost at the point of thinking, yeah, I should start taking some pills specifically for sleeping, but I didn't want to, right? And I was like, wow, I don't need to, personally. And I do want to say something. I'm not a doctor. So if you need something from your doctor, absolutely listen to your doctor. I'm just sharing with you my journey, okay? And then the last one, exercise. Well, I incorporated yoga into my life, but more importantly, I incorporated my awareness, okay? So I started going out and saying, hey, you know what? I don't like my foot feeling like a club, right? But I need that feeling I get from running. What can I do? I'd take a brisk walk with my wife, right? So I get to have some time with her. Okay, and I wouldn't be beating myself up. And then when I would be walking, instead of just being stuck in my head, maybe silently to myself, I'd be saying my mantra, or I could be talking to my wife. You know, I'd be doing anything to stop method, right? To kind of take aware of my surroundings and be outside and enjoy nature. Okay, and by doing this, right, now I'm at the point where I'm more in tune with my body. Okay, and it's been a long journey. But yoga has helped greatly. But that's kind of where I'm at now. Now when I go for a run, I kind of know, what's going on with my body. As always, it's great for having you here today, and I hope you have a great day.